This is Demon FM.
Welcome back to the live DSU elections. Candidates, Demon FM Question Time 2013. We are here with the big dig dang dong. I've said that about 3 times now. And it's the presidential candidates. I have asked them for some fight. I've asked them to metaphorically box each other's ears in. They're going to be disagreeing with each other. They're going to be arguing. It is going to be great radio. Keep tuned in until 2 o'clock to hear what the presidential candidates have to say. Came out of Justin Timberlake with mirrors there. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the format. We're going to ask you 3 questions each. These 3 questions will be the same for each candidate. And then after that, we will take questions from your manifesto and we'll ask you questions based on that. We will also be encouraging the audience to tweet in at Demon FM, or you can text 60300 starting with the word Demon. And if you are in the room and you want to put a question to one of the presidential candidates, the president is the person that represents you at the highest level on the university, on both a local and a national scale. If you want to put a question to any of these, then you feel free. We have had someone unfortunately unable to make it due to an important course-related workshop that they could not miss, so Matthew Jameson is not here. However, we are joined by Ian Warrington, Roger Kelman and Ben Rossi. Make sure you get your texts and your tweets in at Demon FM at 60300, starting with the word Demon. Firstly, we're going to go to you, Ben. How do your manifesto points differ from the other candidates?
Mine are very much focused around one area, and that's student voice. Throughout my manifesto, I don't state about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. My manifesto is clear that I want to hear what the students have to say, because it's them. The points that they bring forward are the ones that I want to put in place. I'm not going in with preconceived ideas about what I'm going to do.
Thank you. The next person, Roger, same question. How do your manifesto points differ from the other candidates?
Well, I've got a big thing about ITMS, because since the IT services were all centralised, as hard as they try, they have made a big mess of it over the last year, and I want to push to make sure that they can never do that again. Also, I'm trying to spend a lot less money than the other candidates to get the same effect by printing everything in black and white. That way, that's more money that we can give back to the students.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Ian. How do your manifesto points differ from the other candidates?
Mine is made up of clear, achievable aims that you can, by the end of my term, you can measure me at and say, did he do his job? The same as last year's one, and this year's is achievable targets. Okay, thank you.
Just to let the audience and the listeners know, when I begged for some food earlier, I did get given a vegetable samosa. I'm going to do that again because I'm really, really hungry. So if you want to bring me like a burger and chips from level 1, then that'd be great. Obviously, I am on a no-carb, no-sugar diet, so never mind. I'm sure Claire's not listening. Next question for you. Now students' fees have increased, how are you going to ensure they are getting their money's worth? Ian?
We're going to continue. I will continue the research that we've done following in Lynette's steps. Trying to double the 1,000 students we spoke to find out if the first years feel like they've got their money's worth. I'm also looking at improving additional funding for the course reps, so they can then feed back more information than ever before.
Got a little whoop there. And over to the next person, Roger. Now students' fees increased, how are you going to ensure that they're getting their money's worth?
Well, we need to get the absolute best value out of the £9,000 each that they're paying. So we need to ensure that academic standards are maintained, because we already have very high standards academically. We need to ensure that there are absolutely no cuts in this area. We need to make the absolute most out of the money that we have and try and get more out of the same amount of money. And we need students to engage as much as possible, because they need to know that the better the university does as a whole, the more their degree is worth to employers in the future.
Okay, and finally, Ben, now students' fees have increased, how are you going to ensure they are getting their money's worth?
Again, the research that has been done, we need to build on that, but for me, one of the most important points is going to be, we need to get in touch with the lecturers as well. We need to make sure that their jobs are protected, because they're the ones teaching us. And then we also need to get with the students to make sure what they're being taught, they're happy with, whether that comes from more training of course reps, or more meetings, whatever needs to be done to maintain teaching standards. Not only maintain, but improve.
Lovely, thank you. And the final question for the presidential candidates, make sure you are getting your questions tweeted in. I can see some phones in the audience. You are in the room, you can just put your hand up and we'll come to you. But if you're too shy to go on radio, then we'll come over, then tweet the question in at Demon FM, or you can text 60300, starting with the word Demon. Final question. We're going to Roger first. How will you ensure that student voices are heard?
a bit like Ian, I would put as much money as possible into the student rep system. The reps are our first point of contact between the students and the students' union. And in a lot of cases, student reps have managed to make positive changes within a matter of days. So they are the ones that need as much support as possible.
Okay, the next person I'm going to is Ben. How will you ensure that student voices are heard?
For me, it's a simple approach. I want to introduce more meetings, both for student reps and students, that they can all attend. But more importantly than that, these meetings have to be in different places to engage more people. So we need to be doing it. Health and life sciences, business, wherever it may be, we should take these meetings more often into these buildings and then encourage the students that are in those buildings to come and tell us what they want.
Okay, and finally, over to you, Ian. How will you ensure that student voices are heard?
I think we first need to start looking at the engaged students. For instance, we've had 1,400 sports teams, people sign up to sports teams this year, 895 students sign up to societies. In the future, I would work with the Vice President of Student Activities to create 2 committees that then could feed back all that information, because they're the people in the know, they're the people who are engaged, and it's also linked with the course rep system. It can only help.
Okay, thank you very much. We had a couple of questions tweeted in. The first one is, why is a certain candidate standing for another position so hot? I'm not going to ask them to come back onto the stage to ask that question. I do think they were getting confused with, for me, being a candidate in the elections, though. I'm not a candidate, but thank you for calling me hot. The real question, for Ben, you have given no hint of a pledge. How will our students know if you're doing a good job?
Very much. Like I said, my pledge was literally the student voice. If the students don't believe I'm being heard, then I would expect them to come to me, and I will give them means to come to me and hold me accountable. Because at the end of the day, I am here to represent you, and if I'm not representing you and you think that, then you need to not only come to me, you need to know where you can go if I'm not listening to you, who can sort that out for you.
Do either of the other 2 candidates want to reply to that in any way?
I will make sure that I am the most accessible president the DSU has ever had.
How?
I will have regular web chats using something like a room where people can join me in an online conference. I will make sure that there is always a way of getting messages to me, so that anytime any student wants to say anything, they can say it straight away.
Okay, thank you. Just on that, another question. A few years ago, we had Andy Schoolidge, president, that did the live chat with Andy thing on the website. That didn't work. What are you going to do differently to make it work?
Well, there's all sorts of new technologies that are now around, and I will investigate at all times what the best technologies to use are, and as well as using the online things, there'll also be face-to-face opportunities as much as possible.
Okay, Ian, do you want to reply to that just before we go back over to Ben, who wants to raise a point?
Yeah, no, I just think we're assuming people want to engage. I think my point is that we go right back to the start and look at how we market the student union as a whole. I think we need a full rebrand in line with the campus developments. Hopefully within 2 years, so we can start planning now that within the campus redevelopments we can be pushed up the list. So we're at the top of the list for the student experience. We're in the top of the list for the £90 million, some of the £90 million to improve the student union, so that we are accessible. We're stuck in a little office down the corridor. People don't know where we are, so I think it's go right back to strip it down and go from the beginning again.
Okay, Ben, you wanted to raise a point?
Yeah, sorry, I just want to ask. All the candidates are saying technology this, technology that. What's wrong with going simply face-to-face? Why do we all want technology? I'm a big advocate for technology, but what about the face-to-face people on the street? What about those people that don't have access?
Well, even now we have the so-called goating and goaling systems, which is going out and talking and going out and listening. So the technology would just augment that. It would give another way for students to get to you, and that can allow them to get to you anytime, weekends, evenings. It's just that the face-to-face, that is going to be when students are around. When they're not here, it just means that they have a much easier way so they can say what's on their mind when it's on it.
Ian, have you got a reply?
I just think there are the means in place at the moment, and they are used, but I think it literally is a case of we need to start really pushing what we have. I think people are unaware of how, like Ben's manifesto says, we're not just a building, but I think looking at how we market ourselves, you were confused when you came into where we were doing the radio vintage sort of thing, and you're running for president, so that's clearly, are we doing something wrong?
That's exactly the point right there, that I've never been engaged in the student union, and the fact that I didn't even know where this was taking place and I didn't know where the Demon Radio is something that we need to fix. Whether or not I do it as president or not, somebody needs to come in and show students that aren't already engaged. Yeah, those that are engaged, we've got to help those too, but those that aren't engaged need to get engaged, and we need to help that.
Well, as Vice President of Student Activities this year, I've got more people signed up for a sports team than ever before, and more people signed up for societies than ever before. So I might be doing something right.
We've got to forget about, we can't forget about people who don't want to join sports and societies either. So we have to basically go out and grab the attention of all the students who aren't currently involved and don't want to join a society or a team. So we need to try and find the people who are a bit more quiet, that are like maybe sitting in the corner and thinking, well, what can the Students' Union do for me? We need to go and tell them exactly what we're willing to do for them.
Okay, I've got a question to put to the candidates. You're basing all of the current answers there on student engagement, getting involved. There are 23,000 students at this university. Do you seriously think that you're going to get every single one of them engaged in the Students' Union? Because you are absolutely not going to do it. It is an impossible task. However, you can engage them in different forms of student activities, i.e. course reps. You can make a difference for those students. What's more important for you three here? Is it more important to have students inside the Students' Union get involved in activities, whether that be media, sports, societies, volunteering, RAG, welfare education, DSU Tech, Level 1, etc., 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 or is it more important that for every single one of those students that you are a voice for them and you are representing them as best as you possibly can? What is your priority?
I think that it is most important that they know that we are here for them. That is the entire reason that the Student Union exists. That is the entire reason that we have an elected executive officers.
And how are you going to do that?
We need to go out and find them. A lot of them aren't going to be, looking towards us saying, oh, well, I'll get involved when they've got something good. We need to go out, find them, tell them that we have something for them. I thought that possibly things like pop-up unions at the collaborative partners would help. So things like Leicester College and
we do that.
Like. Yeah.
Okay, next candidate.
I believe that we should make sure that the student union is perfect for those who are engaged. Those engaged then live with three people who aren't engaged. Go, well, I'm going to my sports team, my society, or the media, I'm writing a news article, my friend asks me, he goes, oh, what are you doing? They then come along. And if we can secure increased funding for the SU to make sure that our current services, which are amazing with what the room we have, improve and make sure that they're 100% and everyone is happy who are engaged, it will only but snowball.
Okay, Ben, do you want to add anything?
Absolutely. I mean, what we need to do, we need to engage across all levels, not just sports, not just societies. We need it at all levels. They need to know where we are, and it is through that. It is through increased funding. But more than that, it's about getting your representatives, whether it be welfare, president, whoever. We need to be out there. We need to be in your lectures. We need to be in your buildings so you know who we are.
Okay, thank you.